It's Dr. Rimka, and you can find out about my courses, my retreats, my customized one-on-one care, and all the products that I use, endorse, and I absolutely claim are Rimka legit at drrimka.com, and check out our new shop. We've updated it with lots of the things that I use right in my own home every morning, all the way to the night. Kept everything in one place for you. So hopefully that'll be helpful. Okay. Something that's been on my mind lately. Here's the thing. Is there such a thing as a fear of joy? Sounds really strange, but I've been delving into joy a lot more as it relates to abundance and in health and in wealth, because it's really, really relevant to staying healthy and aging well and increasing your longevities to have an abundance of everything in your life. Well, it's been coming up. And I'm like, who would be afraid of joy? Well, it's really interesting because my middle name is actually Joy. And I actually hated it growing up. I thought it was, I really hated that. And I used to hide it. And I always hid behind the J, Stephanie J. Rimka. And I'm coming to embrace it more and more as my birthright. And in that, I'm discovering layer and layer that I, in fact, have had a fear of joy. And by studying and asking questions and going further, turns out it's pretty universal the more affluent we become. I'll explain. I've noticed along my own journey in personal development and spirituality that I've taken lots of courses and used to teach group courses, that in there, I felt the need to apologize for my wellness, for my stability, for my strength, and any other attribute of greatness that was being assigned to me. I felt the need to apologize. And in 20 years of practice, I've seen my patients do exactly the same thing, where they deny joy and abundance in a multitude of ways. So it seems like, after studying this for a long time, that we're really unaware of this kind of fear of abundant health, abundant wealth, and abundant love. Doesn't seem to make sense. People always kind of package it and they say fear of success. But let's go a little bit beneath. What does that mean? Okay. And I think it's really stemming more from this fear of joy. We've culturally normalized pathology, right? We've normalized pathological family dynamics. We've normalized pathological body health. We've normalized pathological mental health. People who haven't dealt, who aren't experiencing any of that, who don't have traumatic backgrounds, who feel they have a great childhood, they often find themselves apologizing for it. Like, wow, everything was really great. So I don't really know. Like, at least that's what I see in my practice over and over again. Well, it turns out there's growing evidence in psychology to support the idea that the more affluent a culture becomes, the more that there's an increase in fear of feeling too good, and certainly in expressing that you're feeling too good. In fact, I've said things before exclaiming how happy I was and grateful and abundant things were happening. And I remember saying it to somebody right in my own family. And it was like, shh, don't say that too loud because you don't want to jinx it. That's what I was taught. Shh, don't, well, just knock on wood and don't say it again because you might ruin the whole thing. Just be happy things are going well. Certainly don't talk about it, and certainly don't celebrate it. That's what I was taught. And like last week, like happens all the time. All right. Well, there's a magnificent Marianne Williamson quote that many politicians and thought leaders have used in their speeches. I think most of you know what this quote is, but I want to take the time to read it to you because it is so profoundly accurate. And I think describes this fear of joy, this fear of abundance that we are getting trapped in, that's stopping us from getting what we really need in life. So I'm going to go ahead and read it directly to you. Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. You know, I love that quote of hers. It's truly one of the most profound and gets misquoted all the time. So in one of my groups that I teach and lead in these communities, we always do a celebration Friday. I've never explicitly explained ever to the hundreds of men and women that have taken my courses why exactly participating in Celebration Friday posts can be the key to unlocking their own success or not. But I'm going to finally explain it in clear terms. I do Celebration Friday in all my groups because I do it to start erasing the unconscious fear of joy and their denial of individual abundance and greatness that's holding them back from their health and wellness goals. So what is Celebration Friday? What I do is I ask my students in these courses to review their week every Friday. I want them to look back on their wins, typically as they relate to the protocol in one of my courses. For example, my 3R Reset course for women. I ask them to scan for evidence of how they won with any of the rest, restore, renew, the 3 R's, the principles, anything I'm teaching them. Did they have an insight? Did they increase their self-awareness? Did they stop self-deception and rationalization that was keeping them stuck in unhealthy behaviors? Did they shift their mindset? And how did that change their reality? Right? So it's all done with celebration only. This is really important. There is no self-shaming, self-criticism, self-abuse allowed in any form. And we just simply suggest, me and all my admins, any corrections to the words they use if there's an old habit showing up, which we expect. Why? Here's the thing. Because if you want to go from living in deprivation of health, not a whole scarcity of health, deprivation of joy, to living in an abundance of health, an abundance of joy, an abundance of love, an abundance of money, doesn't matter, abundance. You're going to have to realize that you have a baseline of fear of abundance or fear of health stuck in you. And we have to be able to accurately see that baseline if we're going to upgrade it. All right. Huge part of this. Your brain is really, really smart. And it's not going to show you anything if you're going to punish it. Punishment does not work to cause change. So all that beating yourself over the head with a stick with all those verbal gymnastics that you're doing at times, you think you're being successful, you are teaching your brain that it shouldn't trust you. All right. So it's especially bad to do punishment on your brain when you're asking your brain to find out how you're rationalizing and deceiving yourself into justifying staying stuck in disease. Yep, I just said that. We keep ourselves stuck in disease a lot with a lot of rationalization and self-deception. For example, I know I might have just triggered some of you, but here's an example. A really common and mass kind of self-deception going around is around gene theory, DNA, genetics, gene theory. Now, your genetic code is not the thing that determines how well you age, how thin you are, or how strong your muscles are going to be at 75. A lot of people like to think that, but here's the truth. Your genes only account for about roughly 25%. The data is somewhere between 20 and 30% of the projections of That's how much of an impact your genetics have on your wellness. And in fact, we know that your genes can be completely manipulated up to the point of turning things on and off, and even changing physical position and shape based upon your environment and your thought patterns. Therefore, it's a form of a self-con, a self-deception to keep gripping tightly to a completely disproven theory that your genes are determining how fit, strong, lean, or healthy you are right now. But it sure lets you off the hook to think other people were just born lucky with magical genes and you were not. So that's what I mean about seeing the truth. So you can change your reality by changing your true abundance, joy, and health baseline. You got to let your brain see the truth. And we learn by what we see, not by just what we hear. You got to see it. Okay. So the brain must be able to see that, and it must be able to be celebrated, not punished for seeing it, because we have to celebrate ourselves for seeing it. That's a huge shift for many of you right there in my courses. So what I'm doing with the Celebration Fridays in my courses is I'm teaching the brain, and therefore the biology of the entire body, how to practice health, how to practice joy so much over and over again that it becomes a new biological habit. So I train you, if you take my courses or anything, in abundant joy and celebration, and then teaching you to start ignoring that old pattern of punishment and deprivation. Most of us are very, very good at proving how sick we are, how broken we are, how messed up we are, how broke financially we are, right? We have so much ability to prove what we lack, especially health. So I'm trying to teach everybody, patients and students, how to practice finding how abundant and healthy they are. So if you punish yourself, your brain will never learn to let you discover things about it. It learns to not trust you, honestly, right? But if you celebrate it, the brain wants to show you the games it's playing. It's playing games. You're playing games on yourself, mind tricks. Okay. So if it knows it's going to get celebrated, it wants to get caught. It's going to start showing this to you all the time to say, yeah, can we get rid of this so I can be congruent? Because I like to feel good. I love feeling good. Feeling good feels so much better, right? But this takes repetition. So I do it every single Friday for all the 12 weeks of all my courses. So almost all my courses are roughly 90 days. We have a few shorter ones that we're going to start offering, but I like consistency and repetition to change a baseline and to create a new habit biologically. So this teaches your biology that health is the rule and not the exception for you. And so what I'm doing is just this is one of the tools of many that I use in these courses to change a student's mindset. Because ultimately, it's your mindset that is going to dictate your reality, how you're perceiving, because it's your own personal reality. It's not anybody else's. And that's your mindset is dictating that. And that reality, that perceived reality that you live in, is what's dictating the influence on your biology. It's the environment that changes your DNA expression and therefore your health. So I challenge you, any of you watching, to start doing your own Celebration Fridays so you can scan for and never apologize for abundance of health, joy, ease, love, and wealth in your own life, right? So if you want to upgrade any of this even further, you can consider taking one of my online courses. We enroll all day, every day. You can check out the classes, the retreats, and the products offered at drrimka.com. And thank you for watching, and please like, comment, share with your friends, and let's get everybody to start changing the biology that joy is the normal, health is the rule. No need to fear it. But it's not you. The culture has been teaching you this, and we can all change it one by one.